So one of the things that we have been working on for the past handful of weeks is really improving our reverse logistics capabilities. So we've got a feature that I'm going to demonstrate here, which is um, designed to help you make sure that the individual you're sending loaner inventory to knows where that inventory is supposed to be returned to when it's time to send it back. So I've got the transfer modal open. I've got a couple of containers here that I've selected. You'll notice on the first container, you see a link that says set return to custodian. And then on the second one, you don't see that link. The requirement is that the inventory needs to have a consignment status of loaned. So it needs to be loaner inventory in order for you to be able to set this. But you can easily do that in the transfer workflow or the request fulfillment workflow itself. So, I've got some things that I can do here. We've got the recipient's shipping address has been defined. What I want to do though is I want to look down for consignment status, and I'm going to change this. I'm going to change it to loaned, and it's going to make sure that all of these items are changed to loaned. And so once that happens, I have got this link to set the return to custodian, and it happens on the item level. So if it's a container, it happens on the container level. If it is a loose piece of inventory, you also will get this option for loose inventory if you do happen to send unkitted items that need to be returned to specific places or people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click set the return to custodian. I'm going to get this drop down. And I'm going to pick who am I returning it to, and I'm going to say now I can say, return it back to me. I actually want you to return this to someone else in the field. So I'll just for that one, I'm going to have it returned to this guy here. Now I don't have to have the same item or the same custodian for every item. I can have two trays that go out to one rep, but then they need to be returned to two separate reps. So I can pick a different rep. So I'm going to say send this one to this rep here. So I've got two different reps. Let's just say all this stuff is done. I can set the due back date, so I can say, look, this stuff is going to show up that it's due back on the 23rd. And then I'm going to create the transfer. And then basically what that does is it creates a transfer. The rep that I'm sending it to is going to, this Chris rep here is going to get a notification. Hey, you've got stuff. You need to accept it. I'm going to log out, and I'm going to log back in as that rep is. Okay, so I'm going to log in, and now I'm the rep. I've got I'm going to have a notification saying that I've received inventory. I'm going to look at it. Here's the inventory. Here's all the items that are in the containers, but I can look at the containers and say, okay, I've got two containers here. Presumably I'm looking at the inventory in the real world physically and say, yes, I got it. I'm going to accept it. Now, once I accept this inventory, now the return to custodian is there. The loaner status, everything has been changed to a loaner item. And then when it's time for me to determine what needs to go back, I can actually go to I can go to my transfers, and I'm going to see. So I'm logged in as the rep. I'm going to see a lane here in the board view that we have, and it's showing me actually what inventory is supposed to be returned and who is it supposed to be returned to. And so you'll notice here, I've got this inventory needs to go back to Brian, and this inventory needs to go back to Perth Rep 01. This one also needs to go back to Brian. It was something that was sent at a different time. I can click return now, and then it will, saying who is sending it, who is it going to, and then it automatically selects that inventory, so that inventory can be returned as a part of the transfer. So I don't have to do anything except click next and make sure that all of that is right. And then once I do, I click create, and it automatically creates a transfer for the inventory to go to the person that I have been told needs to receive this inventory next. So it's a really straightforward way to simplify a lot of the process, and also make sure that you're not sending a rep documentation in a text or an email. Hey, after you're done with this tray, make sure you send it to Joe Schmo in California. They're actually going to see it in the app, and the app is going to help them execute that transfer to the right person without them having to fumble to try to find that documentation.